Hi, this is Mary Beth at StencilGirl Products. I am live today on Sunday for our August art and journal, previously known as wine and journal. You could bring your wine. You don't have to bring an alcoholic beverage. Any way you want to journal is great with me. I can see that my trusty assistant Carol Baxter just jumped on, and I'm gonna wait a few minutes until we get a couple more people before we start the programming. But hello, hi Nancy, how are you? It's so good to see everybody. I've had a busy weekend. My nephew came back to college this weekend, so Andrew's having a glass of lemonade. Very good, very good. Sandy Setlip, Dee Spillane. Oh my gosh, the gang's all here. Anyway, so my nephew was going back to college this weekend, and we were, hosting his family and getting him moved back in and so forth. And so we had a busy weekend, very busy, but it was all good. And okay, now I think I've got this going with the comments, I hope, and then I'll be able to comment to you guys when, well, let's see here. There's always something. Every time it seems like Facebook tweaks it up a little bit. You know, it drives you crazy. Well, here's the deal. If you're not getting a comment from me on something, just ask again, or maybe one of my peeps will, tip me off to it or whatever. But because I would like to be here to answer your comments. That's part of the live experience. So, anywho. Well, today what we're going to do is we're going to use stencils. What a stunning surprise that is. But we're going to use them in some different ways. I'm going to do some things that I don't normally do. I'm going to get messy. And I want to show you how stencils can be used in ways other than this precise stenciling that we typically do. So I'm going to demonstrate a few techniques with our stencils where they look a little less stencil-like. Are you intrigued? I hope so. I think it's fun. And I'm going to throw this gesso away. It has been well loved. It's so sad. Look at it. I've gotten about everything I can out of it. I have a new one waiting in the wings. Somebody is asking, where's the live stream? If Carol, Mary, I don't know, it just popped up here. And I don't know how to help on that. It popped up on my screen. I don't know if they're over on my page, my Mary Beth Shaw page. But anyway, so I'm going to turn the camera down. And, oh, Carol, you're from Texas. Yeah, I have a lot of family down there in Texas. And my sister-in-law's family is from the Corpus Christi area. And they've all evacuated from their homes, and we're just waiting to, to find out how they're doing. It's an awful situation. So my heart bleeds for Texas and for what everybody's going through there. It's just, oh. So, but art can heal us and distract us and keep our minds in other places. Oh my God, Sylvia from Paris. I would probably maybe rather be there, eh? We shall see. I love Paris. I'm going to see if I can move this around, get my iPad out of the way here, and then we will show you what we're going to do. I'm going to move this a little bit closer. You cannot believe the small space that I'm working within here. It's like I'm working within this this little minute 6-inch by 6-inch area. Sitting here on top is one of my journals, and I'm going to show you guys. This is just a regular journal that I bought, a store-bought journal, and this is how I do my covers. I just collect some fabric and I glue it on the cover. I have a little wee bit of a fabric obsession. I like fabric and I buy it, and I especially like scraps, and then I don't know how to sew, and that sort of creates a little limitation as far as fabric. So what I do is I glue it down on my journals, and it makes a really nice cover, and it feels so good in your hand. It just feels really fantastic. So this is one I just covered recently, and I really like it. I've got a few pages in here that I've done probably since we've all been together. I'll page through a few. I've been teaching out at I was teaching in Whidbey Island, and with Pam Carricker, my loyal sidekick, we do a show, the Art Journal Roadshow, and we have so much fun. So it's great to teach with a good friend like that. And anyway, this was a spread I did out there, and I remember it because I found this phrase in some of the vintage text. It says, "I thought about you," said the dog man. And I thought that was so hilarious. So that was one I did. And then this was another page that I did when I was out there. Thought 133. This is a page that I did when I was demoing, and I was using some copper. I don't know if you can get that little glint of the metallic or not, but it was pretty cool to use. This was the Paper Artsy paints in metallic, and I've never done that before, used the metallics. And they are matte enough in the journal, and it's pretty, pretty, pretty. I don't know that this page is finished yet, but lots of people jumping on here. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. This is a page I did when I was demoing at Stamp Away in Cincinnati, and I love this stencil. I think it's a Jessica Sporn stencil where you can pick, you know, the I am and then becoming, and then you can pick like the words, and I just love that. I'm becoming whole, and that felt really good to put that on there. Of course, I realize it's coming up for you backwards because of how Facebook streams this, but it really does say something semi-intelligent. And then this is an unfinished page that we might work on a little bit. This is an unfinished page. We can see some Kathy Nichols stencil down here at the bottom, and then this is a fantastic Gwen Lafleur stencil right in here. And then we get up to a gesso page. So I'm going to set this one to the side for the moment, and we are going to start with a page that I already put some collage down here to get us going. I actually covered this one too. I'll show you the front and back cover of this one while we're talking about covers. This has some real small pieces, and this has little parts that were cut off. A friend of mine up in Wisconsin sends me parts that when she's making stuff and she sews them together and trims off the edges, she sends them to me, and oh, I love that. Hey, hint, hint, Geraldine, you know who you are. Anyway, I just love those sewn together parts, and I like adding them on here, and I like kind of loose and airborne parts like this one. So anyway, we'll go back to this. I think you've probably seen some of the pages in here. This was a new one that I did the other day. I've been playing a lot with transfers lately, which is new for me. I never really got on the transfer thing before, but I'm kind of into it now. And this is a little part of a transfer with these two chairs. This is kind of fun. And this is player piano music that says, "How I Miss You." And I don't know, it just felt really significant. Grew dearer to her. These words that I find randomly are just, they just help me express myself in these abstract ways. This is a spread that I started after Rae Missigman's stencils came out the other day, and these are cute. These little leaves are very cute. I like them very much because they look leaf-like, but they're not like overtly so, and they're just really sweet. Oh, and by the way, this I did after the eclipse, and this is Kerr, this stencil, and it's about its moon, parts of the moon, and I'm like, how amazing is that we already had an eclipse stencil and I didn't even know it. So anyway, that was kind of cool. This page I don't think is done yet, but anyway. All right, so up here, I was cleaning my brayer, which is how I got that there. And then I glued down some little collage components. And now I'm going to get some paint and I'm going to put some more layers down here. And I want to show you, first of all, this is a Margaret Piat stencil that is, I think they're supposed to be impressionistic things, and you get these four, sorry, my stencils have gone wild. You get these all four come on one 9x12, and then I cut them apart because I like to use them individually, and I think these are great for doing like kind of implied texture with paint in your work, because they have, this one has like a little squiggly motif, then this one has something that could be like kind of watery, and then this one is clearly like the lily pad part, and then I don't know if this one's part of the sky or what, but I just was looking at them and I'm like, oh, these are kind of cool. So I wanted to play with them. So what I'm first going to do is start out how we normally stencil and how I recommend people stencil, all right? And that is the keep it clean strategy of stenciling. And you all know this, but I just want to show it for people who might be new to us. And I'm going to put the paint out over here on the side. I'm using my Paper Artsy Fresco Finish Chalk Acrylics. This is the honeydew color. And I'm using a smudgy that I robustly cleaned and busted it out, but it doesn't matter. I still put it on my little paw, and I get the paint on it. I pounce it on and pounce it off. And then this is the thing, keep it dry. This is our normal stenciling technique to get the clean results that we typically want when we stencil. So I'm hoping that you can see this. I'll put a deeper blue down here so you can maybe get another look. And when I'm using my smudgy, I just change colors and kind of just keep going. That was a more opaque color, that first one, and the second one is more of a translucent color. So I'm just blending those up to make the blue a little bit more opaque also. And I'm going to stick with the same stencil, pounce up and down, and put it over. And if you've watched me before, you know that I have this thing about merging up my collage components. So these were all different collage parts, and I wanted to merge up these by the placement of that stencil, and then I merge up these by the placement of it again. So that is just part of my process. And then with the smudgy, I will typically pull a little paint around. This I didn't glue down all the way. I could re-glue it, but I just tore it away, so that's an easy fix for that. But this is our normal way of stenciling with the smudgy, keeping it neat and keeping it clean, okay? Let's do something different. Let's get some, let me build some color up here first, so you guys are going to have to watch me for a second as I build some more color. I want to tell you something about these smudgies while I'm doing this. Oh my gosh, so I left a smudgy on my desk the other day, and I came back in here to the desk, and I mean, I don't even know when I left it on the desk. It could have been like a week ago because it was petrified. It had paint on it like all across the end, and it was like crispy. It was crunchy. And it was the Paper Artsy paint, and I was just, oh no, I was so bummed because I thought, great, here goes another smudgy ruined because I'm too lazy to throw it in the water or clean it, because you know you have to, clean the paint off of them or it'll dry down. And so I was so mad, but I thought, I'm going to take this in and try to clean it now with some soap and see what happens. So it was actually this one. I think it was this side. One of these sides, because I think it was this one. And I went in there and I put soap on it and rubbed it in, and it got the paint off days after. I was stunned. I simply couldn't believe it. I just was like, whoa. So good to know. You can clean, you know, the smudgies afterwards. At least sometimes, at least I found that I could with the paper artsy paints, and that was really exciting. So this is called Concrete, this color, and I'm just gonna kind of glaze over this a little bit with it to kind of merge this up, because I want to do a demo up here at the top. And I am gonna get this Michelle Ward stencil. I love this stencil. It's L237 by Michelle Ward, and this is an oldie and a goodie. I have adored this stencil since the day she designed it. It's like she crawled into my head. So I'm going to put it up here, and I am going to get, let's use some green because I really want it to pop out here. And I'm going to use a brush, and you know that I don't normally do a brush, so you know that I've got something different up my sleeve. I'm going to get the paint on there, and I am not keeping it dry. I am not doing any of the normal things I do, okay? I'm just slopping it down there. I'm kind of wiping it. Some of it will go under because this is a lot of paint. I can hear everybody gasping. Or in my imagination, you're all gasping because this is so unlike me to do this, right? Because I'm so all about not doing this. So anyway, I'm using a lot of paint. I'm not being precise. And let's pull it up. And I love, you all sent the emojis across. You're so cute. Anyway, see how it looks? I think it looks great. It doesn't look precise because you've got like little, you know, kind of these seeping through parts, but it looks good. Now, let's say it's pretty wet. So one way to fix this is to take just a paper towel. I've got a old ratty paper towel, and just lay it down and pull this up. And do you see how it pulled up those top layers and it kind of merged in with the background a little bit? Look how it did that right here particularly. Now I'm going to do it again up here. I have been hanging out with Carolyn Doobie. I love hanging out with Carolyn Doobie. That's so funny. Yeah, she's wild and woolly with her stencils. But see how this is? It is a totally different effect than the precision that we got down here. And I just think it's something that I wanted to show because I didn't want you to all think that I really keep it all super, super precise and intense or exacting every single time, because I don't. I really don't. Sometimes I really do like it to be a little bit more grungy looking like this. This is the edge of this is even kind of grungy looking because there's a little bit of the collage going over the edge there. But I like that. I like the effect quite a bit, and it's something I really enjoy doing. So I'm going to get a darker color. I'm going to get this darker color called French Roast. And Nancy found us through Carolyn. Well, Carolyn is one of our great designers, and we just love her. She's the best. She has a class starting tomorrow. If you guys haven't signed up, it's about working with the gel plates, and it's called Fundamentals. Fun, F-U-N, Dementals. And I'm signed up. I can't wait. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna use this very loose paint again up here. I'm just gonna take it along the top. In this dark color so that you can all see the contrast. Move it. And then I'm gonna spritz it. And I hit it pretty hard with that water. And I did that specifically because I wanted the paint to be kind of blown off the surface by the water, as it was here, and then to drip down the page. Now, you can leave it, these drips, and let it dry like that. I'm going to probably dab them back just a little bit. But this is another great effect to use a stencil, but to get it to merge with the background and just to get you a little bit of just a different look. Not that precise pattern look necessarily, but more of this worn, layered look. And I like it when you combine both. I still got a little brown here on the brush, so I'm just going to go on the rest of the page and pull a little of that color around. And I've got some concrete here on the page. That's the color, not actual concrete. And just keep this going in this kind of mood. It establishes a different mood for the piece. And I love that. I just think it's really fun. Now, the next thing I want to do, I'm trying to reach for a pencil here. This is an Inktense pencil. This is made by Derwent, and this one is the ink black color, and I really like that color a lot. I'm going to try to move this over and work on this side of the page here. And with the Inktense, what's so nice about it is that it's, yes, Gail, these are a chalk type paint. They dry down to, they're called a fresco finish chalk acrylic. And the reason I like them in my journal is because they dry down to a really nice matte finish, and that is just great for journaling, because then when you close the page, you don't necessarily have to worry about it. Look at how this tissue's coming up. See, I can't help myself. I'm just such a pig, but I like that. So, okay. I'll come back to that later, but let's get the tip of the Inktense revealed again. Okay, so anyway, I've got my Inktense pencil, and this is ink in a pencil form. You can use it wet or dry, and it'll dry down in a more permanent way. What I'm going to do is use the side of it and put a bunch of it down here over this dry page. I could do it over the wet page, but it's a little hard to control over the wet page. And I created pretty much of it on there. And then let's grab, oh, what to use next? The excitement. The excitement. Oh, I know what I want to use. I want to use this, if I can find it here. You know, Rae Missigman came out with some new ones the other day, and I just love them. But, oh, let's use one of this. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Did you get home from seeing that new little grandbaby? Babies everywhere. So many people I know are having new grandchildren. Okay, so this is a new stencil by Rae, and I'm going to lay it down on top of the ink, and I'm going to just get my baby wipe, put my finger through it, and kind of go across this with some pressure. I don't know if you can see that, but I am using some pressure. And then here at the top and the bottom, I'm just sort of spreading it around a little bit, and I'm spreading it through the white part a little bit also. And then look at that when you move the Inktense. Is that cool or what? Love it. So then you can get a different stencil and go back and get some larger. Like this was one by Daniella Woolf. So then let's just try to move around with a different stencil. And you can do that too, and it blends the stencils. These Inktense, I just recently started using them for stenciling, and I don't know why. I had never thought of that before. I felt sort of stupid. I was like, well, shoot, man, that's pretty cool. So anyway, I like doing that. And again, I would go back and get some paint and rub it in, paint it in, and look how it's picking up the color of the Inktense. And then you can, you know, even pull some of that Inktense over to the other page, whatever, whatever. I mean, it's just a lot of different options. There was this stencil. I love this little stencil by, this one's by Kerr, who's just so cute. It's got these little holes and marks and all these things, and I'm going to put him over here. And let's find another color. Another blue. Yeah, it's a great way to use Inktense, isn't it, Nancy? I think so too. And I was kind of fun. I was kind of excited. You know, as with most things, it's like you discover things when you are like missing some of your supplies and you need something to use, and you like look around to see what's laying there. And that was it. All I had were some pencils, and I thought, there's got to be a way I can use these with stencils. And voila. Okay. So you can get these great, you know, little circular patterns with this guy. I love this stencil. It's really nice when you, you know, I will start typically with the larger shapes, and then I'll move up, up, up from larger shapes to the next larger, you know, to smaller, 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 to tiny shapes at the top. And I just love this. And again, you could go in, if I hadn't got my Inktense so yucky, you could even go in and just trace a few shapes here too to vary it up and move it around the page. This page is still pretty wet. I probably shouldn't be working on it. I should get my other journal out. And you could wet them, and look how it pops that black right up there. And I just love that. So, Inktense for stencils. Who knew? All right, I'm going to move this one out, and I'm going to get the other journal up here. And then we'll show some more things. Let's go back and work on one of these pages that I thought needed more work. Maybe let's work on this page. And get some lighter colors in here. Of course, I don't have any colors out that would be appropriate for this page. This is why it's called live, people. I just like get a wild hair and I go with it, right? What can I say? But let's see what we can do here. And I'm going to use this lily pad thing. I just think that I might like some of these. Well, I don't know. This has got a lot of squares on it. I think maybe I'll stick with the squares on this page. But look at this. These are splats that are in basically square shapes. So I think this might work, yeah? It's got potential. Sally Lynn says, at least she owns Inktense pencils. Yes, I know. I hate to be such a pusher, but okay. So this is a way to make some marks. You know, if you're not comfortable sometimes with your own mark making, don't be afraid to just pick up a stencil. And Rae Missigman has been great with designing these stencils for us that will help us all create our own cool marks. So then you can put it down, and then you can go back and you can just circle around a few, or square, or draw around them. I just use them as like kind of a suggestion, you know. It's, I love them to get the color down, but then I also like taking it in my own direction as well. And I think that that's really a lot of fun to do. That's a really cool stencil, this one with these marks. And then she's got some other ones that came out too that have some other marks. Oh, like this one has these splats. Those are pretty cool, those splats. And then here's the one I was talking about, the Cat Kerr stencil that I liked so much that I used in my moon page. I love, love, love that one, that moon one. These are some parts of stencils that, this is S372. It's a Daniella Woolf. It's, as you can see, I've cut it up because I don't know what I did with it. I probably damaged it or something when I was working. And so then I just feel free to go ahead and cut it up then, and it becomes part of my travel pack. Because when I'm traveling, I never ever would throw a stencil away. When I'm traveling, I prefer these little baby ones anyway. And because what I do is I keep them in a little library card. So I've got I've got like my ATC stencil in here, that one I designed that cuts up, then plus parts of other stencils that I just put in here because I like having the small ones. And I love a little piece of this Brick Factory. It's like such a cool stencil to have on hand like that. Again, go back. Make it your own. And doodle on it. When it's dry, you can go back with your white pen. You can add something else. You know, I put that lavender in there. I'm not even really sure it goes with the page, but we'll see. It will go with its page by the time I'm finished with the page. I can tell you that much. Because that's how I am. I've got a big pile of this gesso over here. I think I'm gonna get some different colors going. I've got a big hot mess on this brush. This ought to be interesting to see what color I end up with. And let's go back in with the paint. Since I've got all of this square motif, I'm going to put square on top of square. I've got a lot of gesso on here, and it's thick and kind of old gesso. So I'm using this almost like an old-time stencil brush. Remember back in the day when they used to sell those round stencil brushes that you were supposed to do in circular motion? Well, you were supposed to do them with dry paint like we do today still, but I'm not. I'm just putting down a lot. And you might be freaking, but I'm going to let this serve as texture up here. And it's going to be kind of messy, but look at it. I mean, don't you love how that looks? Oh, love, love, love. And I'm not even going to blot any of this off because I'm pretty excited about it. I might pull some back with the baby wipe and blot it down that way just to kind of get the edge a little bit blended out. But I think I'm going to put a little bit more up here because, oh, I love that, the idea of using this as texture. And since it's gesso, they still sell the old-time stencil brushes. I'm sure they do. Of course they do. I'm sure people use them. I'm sure I've probably got some too. But since it's gesso, you know, you don't have to worry so much about how it's going to come off on your journal page. You know it's gonna, it's gonna dry down okay because it's gonna have that matte gesso finish anyway. But then this is that Utrecht gesso that I use, so it tends to be a little bit thicker than some. And particularly when you leave the lid open, it gets really thick. So anyway, so look at it going across the top. I love that. I love that effect. So that is another way. And I'll have to say, I love this stencil. It reminds me of one of those plastic things that they do for that that hooked rug stuff. It's kind of cool. Pretty fun, I shall say. Love it, love it. So let me think what else I was going to tell you guys. I think that's probably about it for today. I'm going to get a regular schedule going, and we will be back more frequently with our live productions here, if you want to call this a production. And I'm going to get a stencil out that I don't think we've released yet. Carol's probably going to have somebody pick Carol up off the floor. I don't know when the stencil's being released. Maybe it's been released. I don't know. I love the stencil. Hey, where is Harley? John, is Harley around?
He's sleeping down here.
Oh, he's sleeping at John's feet. He just had dinner because he was being so obnoxious. We had to give them all dinner before we started. But, you know, I think this is getting kind of interesting. I actually liked the page before I started, but now I like it. I still like it. So, I will just keep playing and building my layers. Does anybody have any questions for me about anything? Oh, this stencil is coming out in September. Okay. Well, you guys are going to have to wait, and then we'll give you the big hoo-ha when it comes out. I've been using it behind the scenes. I can't help myself. I love this stencil. So I want it to be out. So wait, it'll be worth the wait. Trust me, because it is really pretty cool. I'm looking forward to our StencilGirl and Friends event, which is in just 4 weeks. My friend Kristen Williams, who's on here, is hosting this at her store, and she has done amazing work on it. If you did not get in this time, we will hopefully do it again, and I'm pretty excited about it. Thanks. I do like to create the glow in the middle, Dee. This one had a lot of metallic in it, which is a little bit different for me. Yes, look at Kristen's website for Ephemera Paducah also, because she's kind of putting out her 2018 classes, and oh my, I gotta say, I'm gonna be down there taking some of them, because there are some great people coming that I can't wait to see in person. And any plans to come to California? Yes, I'm so glad you asked me. I will be back at Jenny Doe's studio in March of 2018, and I'm thinking, I don't have my calendar with me, but I think it's about like maybe the 3rd weekend in March 20th, something like that. Gail, I'd love to come to New Orleans. If you have a place down there, let me know, okay? Message me or send me an email. I love New Orleans, one of my favorite cities. So, well, this is so fun to talk to everyone. And I hope you all have a nice evening, and I hope everybody's safe and sound and dry, and at least you're dry of body and you're healthy, and the things that matter are safe. I did not make the little journal. This is a store-bought journal. So I have made journals, but it's in Santa Ana, California. I've Jenny Doe's studio. It's called Studio Crescendo, and I don't have it up on my website yet, but I will have it up there shortly. These, Eileen, these are Paper Artsy Fresco Finish Chalk Acrylics, and oh, thanks, Kristen. I feel like I can't get any distance on it, and I don't know if it's looking good or not. Thank you. These are great for the journal because they keep the page very matte, and then you can just go ahead and close the page, and you don't have to worry about the pages sticking together, so that's really nice. I'm going to have to add some more drips because, you know, I love my drips. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. It has been great, and I will get a date to you, and we will be back again in, I don't know when, but soon. So thanks so much. Bye-bye, everybody.